Good afternoon, partners from Collaborative Work Unit 2. Uh, Here is my video. I'd like to share this video with you and all the partners in the group in order to discuss proposed questions, and answers about bilingualism in Colombia. What's my opinion um, based on these questions? So the first question, according to the guide, is what does it mean to be bilingual in Colombia? Well, um, there are so many things around this word about this concept about bilingualism, but one of the things is that it's to have the ability to communicate in English as a second language, and having this global language as a um, result of interacting and exchange with people from all over the world. Right here in Colombia, in our country, Ministry of Education and Government has been promoting learning the language, and encourage people and citizens to get close to this language, in order to get a native speaker level. But it's taking time, for citizens to approach to this, and be able to communicate in a different language than the one that you're used to as Spanish, as a native language. Mm, the idea of this program is to promote resources and make people to understand why it's important in Colombia and Latin America to learn a second language, and expand opportunities, be competitive, in terms of labor and also in professional and academic terms as well, and it's also the result, the benefits to speak a second language in this global world, as you know, we're also expanding and we're actually bringing in a globalization power. So I think that's one of the things about the definition of bilingualism in Colombia. Uh, Here is another one question. Here is another one. It's what would be the idea of a perfect scenario for bilingual program in Colombia to be successful? In my opinion, uh, I think in Colombian context, government is really looking forward to consider English as an important foreign language, and they have established a relevant point in improvement of the quality of teaching English according to the standards. And based in European Common Frame standards as well. I think a successful scenario for be a bilingual program will be one based in people's ideas, and bring learning into real issues that involves globalization, capitalism, economic, politics, education, English, in all these items, and make people to understand that English is a universal language, that it's really established, you know, and make people to want it, you know, learn the language in order to be competitive in Colombia and other parts of the world. That's about the second question. About the third question, in my opinion, we understand about the meaning of students seen as a monolithic population. Um, I think is uh, related to the word student, because the word student should be considered as a Colombian school children aged between 5 to 18 that have access to education and any position level or economic status or environment of education and be able to keep B1 level in English. I think that the idea of this term monolithic, is think of massive think of population, a group of population. This group of students can be seen as population of children able to accomplish a B1 level during their whole high school studies and perform different levels of the language, considering as well different circumstances in terms of local issues, that are really affecting this population performance in education due to conflicts, resources, displacement, and all these facts that are taking place in Colombia. I think so. That's what is the meaning or definition of the word monolithic population. Okay, about number four, what are the main critics to the national bilingualism program? Mm, well, I think there are so many things involved in this, you know. So one of the things is that the government and ministry should have into account local issues that are affecting performance of children in education. As already leads the answer for my previous question, there are so many things part of these groups like political, economics, violence, displacement. So before planning to span a national bilingualism program, we should bring in reality, and current events should be placed on this table in order to span a foreign language in Colombia. There is no point for Ministry of Education or government to think about expanding linguistic programs with so many problems around education in Colombia. So at the same time, citizens should just start getting close to a new code, a new language in ways of interpreting information and the way they should accept it. You know, besides they must use these real issues as is taking place. Globalization processes and language reform in Colombia are connected. So the thing is that they should really think about these issues. You know, and how this is connected to globalization, to understand and be comprehensive to others. You know, in bilingualism, it's important, but government must talk about creation and expansion of the language in schools, but in first place, they might be efficient, about creating programs and order current legislation in education, changing all patterns in terms of languages, regulating these terms um, of private education instead supporting public schools. Uh, Currently, laws promote and create lines that mention foreign language teaching mandatory, presenting strategies or reforms that must be considered depending on global and national issues. But they must explore implication of these issues. Globalization is an important process and work in terms of this in local communities that are located way farther from capitals. So part of the entire country in order to get close to a foreign language. The whole country be part of this process of learning a second language because there are so many communities isolated, as you know. There are different places in Colombia where English hasn't arrived yet, and people probably don't have the idea what it means to speak a foreign language and why we use this. They are actually speaking Spanish as a native language and their own languages. We have the last question: how is globalization connected to education and language policy in Colombia? Well, in my opinion, globalization, as it said in the material, does not mean any new phenomenon. Globalization processes have accompanied human history as a result of constant movements or changes of people and capitals around the world. Uh, this current way of globalization um, is related, of course, to education, and they must study how this is affecting education from different perspectives. That's actually what I answered in my question. They must study which is this local educational issue that have been influenced by global issues in Colombia and how they are connected to education. In my opinion, this globalization is connected. Actually, um, is because Colombia location in America, it really has an important location in America, and right now Colombia is being influenced, and also it's also influencing, bringing in different issues. Um, Globalization definitely affects education in Colombia from different views and perspectives. Language development and expansion, and government asking citizens to learn a second language is one of the things to be listened in these issues that are affecting and how globalization is connected to education. The government is planning to expand a second language in Colombia, but it's also because the globalization, has arrived. Um, they are more focused on this and how this world global um, require people to be prepared and ready, and competitive to interact with different countries and in different parts of the world. And here is a relation with the language. That's one of the reasons why we're thinking that definitely English is connected to globalization, in my opinion. So, okay, guys, I think that's the way I have summarized the answers, you know, of these questions. I hope that you understand these answers and you um, can share some other ideas in the forum as well. Okay, guys, thank you for listening and have a good time.